Good. I'm Professor Figaji. I started my working life as a teacher, and then I worked as an engineering surveyor for a construction company. I got a bursary from the construction company and eventually went on to do engineering. I joined Pentec in 1980 after spending 12 years both in construction and in engineering design. I joined Pentec as head of engineering with the mandate to expand the engineering education program at what was then called the College for Advanced Technical Education, which became Pentec. I was promoted to Deputy Vice Chancellor and then Senior Deputy Vice Chancellor. And in 1995, I was appointed as the Vice Chancellor, and I served in that position until 2004. I did a BSc with Maths and Physics as majors at UWC. I then did a BSc and an Advanced Diploma in Civil Engineering at UCT, and I did Education Studies both at UNISA and at Harvard. So that's me. Dr. Franklin Sonn was the Vice Chancellor of the institution from 1978. The senior management at that time, as you could see in the picture, was made up of Dr. Sonn, Professor Trump, Mr. Moritz Slubbert, and myself at the time. And much of the groundwork of building a real community of people, and by that I mean staff and students, with a common purpose on the campus, was done under the leadership of Dr. Sonn as Vice Chancellor. The institution's strength has always been strong leadership, dedicated staff, committed students. Dr. Sonn wanted to expand engineering at the then CPUT, which was the College for Advanced Technical Education, and it is now, of course, Pentec. And he convinced me at the time to join the institution to head up the engineering department with the mandate of expanding engineering education at the then CPUT. As he headhunted me, I then set about headhunting significant engineering people who could boost the engineering component at the institution. And as a result, I recruited Professor Stark, who at the time was studying at Oxford University. I called him to Oxford and offered him a job. And I recruited Dr. Ozzie Franks, who was at Rossing at the time in Namibia. And so we did not leave the recruitment of quality staff to chance. We actually went and found people because we wanted to provide quality technical education to the marginalized communities in the Western Cape. But soon, of course, this became a national responsibility for us to expand quality technical education. Even though Pentec did not enjoy the same level of resourcing that the previous white institutions enjoyed, it was certainly respected as one of the prominent institutions. The senior management of the institution all played leading roles in the Committee of Technikon Principals Association. In 1984, cooperative education was started at Pentec under the leadership of Professor Trump, a first in the country, and soon the institution had the largest co-op education unit responsible for student placement. And this certainly was the most active co-op unit in the country. In 1986, we started registering students regardless of their ethnic origin. And soon Pentec became the institution of choice for students from as far afield as Gauteng and KZN. The institution's vision, mission and values was always used as a North Star or as the North Stars for every interaction on campus, and management set the example. And I suppose this is the most important point, that if you establish values, the leadership has to demonstrate that they live those values. And so, just as an example, mutual respect was an important value at Pentec. And that value was demonstrated by the way the Vice-Chancellor spoke to the gardeners and the way we addressed our students. Similarly, we did not allow students to be rude, since they too signed up for the institutional values. And so mutual respect meant mutual between everybody. Apart from the academic teaching responsibilities, the institution also had a great concern about discrimination and inequality in the country. So while we supported most of our students' protest actions, we also tried to prepare students for change. As the country approached democracy, we offered to provide educational opportunity for those returning exiles. And so in 1992, we introduced a bridging program and used RPL to prepare returning exiles for admission into the academic programs that we were currently offering. It required us to source accommodation and to set up a special unit at Pentec to deal with this. And that unit was headed up by Samuel Isaacs, who later on became the head of quite an important institution in South Africa. And this project was funded by the Danish government. So as I go on, in 1993, Pentec was one of 13 institutions that participated in a strategic planning program run by the American Council on Education. And the pivot person for that program was Dr. Fred Hayward. The program provided an experienced US Vice-Chancellor as a coach and a guide to each of the South African institutions and their heads. This program enabled Pentec to develop an institutional plan that would be more effective in implementing our vision and mission. Dr. Bill Lauder from Delaware State University, whom you can see on a picture that I provide, together with David Blizzard, were the key people in our institutional strategic planning unit. Dr. Bill Lauder and I became personal friends, and this program allowed this Vice-Chancellor, who had years of experience in the US, to spend 2 periods, each 2 weeks long, at the institution, sitting with me, watching how I operate, guiding, coaching, and helping along to do things differently. Also sat with our strategic planning committee, guided, helped David Blizzard in the way he prepared plans, he prepared the strategic plan for the institution. Our strategic planning unit was quickly formalized, quickly resourced, and soon became one of the most effective strategic planning units in the country. To demonstrate the role which you asked about leadership in education in South Africa, both Dr. Son and myself served as the chair of the Committee of Technikon Principals at some point. Dr. Son served on the De Lange Commission, which was an inquiry into a new educational dispensation for South Africa. And in 1995, in the year that I was appointed as the Vice Chancellor at Peninsula Technikon, I was also appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Minister of Education to serve as a commissioner on the National Commission on Higher Education. This commission was tasked with formulating policy for a new higher education landscape, and it had far-reaching impact on the education scene in South Africa. In 1993, our campus was also privileged with a visit from Nelson Mandela. It caused great joy and much consternation on campus. And there are a number of pictures where you can see the engagement of the staff and the students in this visit. But as we believed in this whole value of mutual respect, the pictures demonstrate that the honor of the visit of Nelson Mandela was not confined to the senior management. The staff, the residence management, the workers, the gardeners, all had an opportunity to meet this great leader. And as you will see, the pictures will show how the people who were involved with that visit were drawn from the wide spectrum of the campus community, and how the students lined up to celebrate this particular event. One of the legacies that Dr. Son left us in the construction of the campus was that a central feature of the campus was what we call the Dome of Remembrance. And that particular place we converted into a real Dome of Remembrance. And so Dr. Son instituted a practice where annually we will remember all those who died during the year, both students and staff. And we will have a memorial service. We will invite the parents and families of those who deceased, and we will then go over to the Dome of Remembrance, and we will unveil a plaque in the memory of those individuals who deceased. And that was one of those small ways in which we built a cohesive campus community, respecting everybody. That practice, I'm very happy to say, has been resuscitated under the new leadership at CPUT. And the Dome of Remembrance has been renewed, has been refurbished, and now has pride of place. And there are a number of pictures that are available that shows us part of the memorial service and also unveiling the plaques. So I think that in short is for me a condensed version of the history of Pentech. I spent 25 years of my life there and invested quite a lot of emotional energy in the place. So I was quite sad post 2006 when the place went up in flames and there was so much drama and so much difficulty. I watched from the sidelines, and then I think the institution went through a very difficult phase, and then came the present Vice Chancellor, who wanted to recognize the history and the basis that formed the new institution, and I think gave new meaning to sort of recognition, togetherness, building community, and invited us back and had a conversation with all of us, with Franklin Son, with Johan Tromp, with myself. And I think that built a relationship, a new relationship. I knew the Vice Chancellor from a previous life, when he was at the NRF. And I just thought, well, I think the place is now on a different footing, going in a different place, and if I can help, if I can make any contribution, I'm very happy to do that. Because I think it's important for the institution to succeed. It's not about our egos. I think the leadership at the institution must focus beyond just the academic interaction. We found what was valuable is instilling values, in instilling a sense of being, and in saying to people, your character defines you. And we owe it to the young people to instill values in them. Even though it's tough to do, you've got to do it consistently. And so if you set the right example, you can, and I believe you can teach by example. But I think we owe it to them to instill values, not 500, choose the values, live them, and instill them in the young people.